Does insomnia disrupt memory reactivation during sleep? Targeted memory reactivation, or TMR, is a technique used to improve the consolidation of specific memories during sleep. It benefits from the brain's natural process of memory reactivation by directing it toward particular memories. This method uses cues that were presented during learning, and replaying these cues during sleep helps the brain strengthen and store information more effectively. The overall process is based on the active systems consolidation hypothesis. During sleep, the brain reorganizes new information and integrates it into existing memory networks. New memories initially depend on the hippocampus, but are gradually transferred to the neocortex for long-term storage. These regions interact continuously during memory reactivation, and when cues are presented at the right time, TMR can guide this communication towards specific memories. EEG studies show that activity during reactivation mirrors the pattern seen during waking learning, and its effectiveness relies on the electrical rhythms that define non-REM, especially slow-wave sleep. During slow-wave sleep, several brain rhythms coordinate to reactivate memories. Slow oscillations from the neocortex act as timing signals, helping the brain decide when to replay stored information. When a cue occurs during the up state of these oscillations, the associated memory strengthens. Hippocampal ripples and spindles align with these oscillations, creating windows for replay. Spindle bursts stabilize memories, and higher spindle or theta activity predicts better learning. Together, these rhythms keep the hippocampus and cortex synchronized so that targeted cues can reinforce the right memories. Research consistently shows that TMR strengthens memory when applied during the right stage of sleep. Hugh and Al's 2020 meta-analysis of 91 studies found a small to moderate overall effect, most pronounced during non-REM sleep, particularly stage 2 and slow-wave sleep. TMR showed no significant effects during REM or wakefulness, but improved both declarative and procedural learning, including language and motor tasks. Additional work shows that precisely timed cues aligned with the brain's slow oscillation uptake or immediately following spindles can further enhance recall. In short, TMR works best when cues are synchronized with the brain's natural memory rhythms. Although TMR effectively strengthens memories in healthy sleepers, its success depends on deep, stable sleep and precise brain coordination. In insomnia, however, those conditions are disrupted. Insomnia disorder is described as a 24-hour state of hyperarousal, where there is a chronic imbalance between arousal-promoting and sleep-inducing systems. Brain images show that people with insomnia have an overactive alertness system. Areas like the anterior cingulate cortex, orbitofrontal cortex, insula, and amygdala continue to signal as if something important is happening. These regions connect to the locus ceruleus, which release noradrenaline and keeps the brain alert. EEG studies also show persistent cortical arousal with elevated beta and sigma activity, frequent microarousal, and superficial sleep even during deep sleep. People with insomnia also reduced sensory filtering. This means that ordinary sounds, or even TMR cues, can easily trigger awakenings. At the emotional level, REM sleep becomes restless, which prevents the usual silencing of noradrenaline, thus disrupting emotional memory processing. Physiologically, this hyperarousal appears as elevated cortisol, increased metabolic rate, and higher core body temperature, which are signs that the stress system never fully rests. Altogether, insomnia affects the brain by restricting its ability to disengage from wakefulness, causing the fragmentation of the synchronized oscillations. To date, there is no direct evidence testing TMR in individuals with insomnia disorder. Still, by comparing what TMR requires with the physiology of insomnia, we can easily predict why its effectiveness may be limited. TMR depends on stable, deep sleep, and subtle cues, which are conditions disrupted by insomnia's hyperarousal. Patients show increased fast-frequency EEG activity, frequent microarousals, and poor sensory filtering, making it increasingly difficult to deliver cues without awakening them. Since successful TMR occurs during non-REM stages characterized by slow oscillations and spindles, the fragmented non-REM sleep typical of insomnia likely prevents this coordination from occurring. Yet, TMR may still hold promise. Because insomnia involves persistent emotional distress and cognitive bias towards negative information, future research could explore whether TMR could be adapted to reduce emotional hyperarousal or even enhance psychotherapy in disorders such as anxiety, depression, and even PTSD.